meeting with the worship team.
He's lying. The church is bankrupt.
Wait, what?
I have seen some very twisted and complicated characters across The Boys, but few have matched up to Ashley Barrett, sheerly because of her journey from the first season until now. From a well-placed Vought employee to the CEO of the company, and now the vice president, she has come a long way. I have a special respect for anyone who manages to survive against all odds, and Ashley Barrett has done it all, as a regular individual who later injected herself with Compound V to develop a unique superpower. While there isn't the exact character in the comic books, there is someone equivalent called Jessica Bradley, but Ashley holds a lot more significance in the narrative. However, today I am not going to dive into her storyline, which I am sure you all know anyway. In this video, I will explore her unique physiology that makes her stand out among the other supes at the moment. How did she acquire superpowers? I can never forget the eventful Season 4 finale where Ashley was forced into a situation where she had to inject herself with Compound V. By now, she had done her best to appease Homelander and Vought, but she still encountered some challenges in her workplace. She realized that working with Homelander was unpredictable, but she didn't really have a choice. Finally, in the season finale, she watched as Homelander and Firecracker revealed to the world that Victoria Newman was a supe. Then Homelander asked her for a list of people who had damaging information about him and the Seven. But what happened next changed her life completely. She overheard Homelander and the Deep talking, where the latter suggested to Homelander that they should kill Ashley because she had the most information on the Seven. After hearing Homelander support the Deep's idea, she panicked, rushed to Homelander's apartment, and used a vial from his hidden Compound V stash to protect herself. She screamed in pain following the use of V, and she fell to the ground as her wig fell off. She continued to scream, and it almost seemed like she would experience a monstrous transformation. However, the real change was far more subtle, and something that is holding her in good stead at the moment. What powers did Ashley gain following the Compound V injection? It is later revealed that Ashley has gained psychic abilities along with the power of telepathy, and to make things better for her, she is spared by Homelander. Many other employees are not as lucky, but she climbs up the ladder courtesy of her new status as a supe, and I am sure Homelander considers her useful enough to keep her alive. Eventually, with Victoria Newman dead and Calhoun installed as president, Ashley somehow rises into the position of vice president of the United States, and she resigns as the CEO of Vought. She also gets married to the religious fanatic supe Old Father, as they all try to further the propaganda around Homelander and the Seven. That being said, she is definitely one of the lesser evils because of some of the things that she does in her capacity to help others from the wrath of Homelander. Of course, she cannot be very direct about it because that will cause a meltdown and a possible death, but she does her part while being a part of the trusted circle. The concealed Two-Face. Well, we have our very own Two-Face with Ashley, only this one works differently. After her transformation through Compound V, she forms a sentient, tumor-like facial growth on the back of her skull, hidden by her wig. This sentient face is named Back Ashley, and we have seen in the ongoing Season 5 that the second face has no control over her physical body. It's almost like another person is living rent-free on her body, and this other face offers its thoughts and opinions for Ashley to consider. It is more like an embodiment of her consciousness, and it shares memories, knowledge, and feelings with her. So far, I have usually seen the extra face as a sentient being that tries to convince her to be a better person, and it is more like the side of Ashley's brain that she has chosen to ignore all this time. Does Ashley remind you of Malignant? I don't know if you are familiar with this 2021 horror film by James Wan, but it comes with an interesting concept. It tells the story of a woman named Madison who has visions of people being murdered and then realizes that the events are happening in real life. Eventually, it is revealed that she has a parasitic twin brother who appears as a half-formed child facing out of her back. Most of him was removed from Madison's body, but his brain could not be destroyed without killing her. He is then sealed inside Madison's cranium, where he remains dormant until situations turn him hostile and he makes Madison's body commit the murders. The visuals are strikingly similar to Ashley's condition, only we haven't seen Back Ashley be hostile or sinister in any way. Also, Ashley is well aware of her condition and she handles it just fine, almost like having an opinionated friend as her voice all the time. Even then, the similarity is just out there for you to see, and it is really hard to ignore. Do check out Malignant if you haven't already, because it is a pretty good body horror flick. How do Ashley's psychic powers work? Ashley Barrett is also shown to have developed powerful psychic abilities that become more prominent during the events of the second episode in Season 5. The first episode hints at this when she says that she can read minds in a room full of journalists, but one might be forgiven for thinking that she was speaking figuratively. But the second episode makes it very clear during her interaction with Sister Sage. Sage is dismissive of her attempts to read her mind, but the fact that Ashley can do so, courtesy of the moralistic face at the back of her head, is an interesting development. It is not strong enough to read someone like Sister Sage, but it works just fine with normal people. The face at the back of her head actually guides her to think about certain aspects that she would be too scared to think of consciously. Also, I love it when her psychic abilities allow her to read the mind of O-Father and learn that his church is bankrupt, and I am sure this will come in handy later. Will she show some other superpowers going ahead? Compound V can produce wildly different results, and while many soups develop some level of enhanced durability or physical resilience, Ashley's confirmed powers are mainly psychic so far. For now, we should not assume that Ashley has mastered strength, durability, or heightened senses. Her real advantage is mental. Mind reading, survival instinct, and the strange second voice living at the back of her head. She has to rely on her mind and her sentient twin at the back of her head for wisdom, and she might outwit others through this. Can these powers help her survive the endgame? As you probably know, we are into the final season of The Boys, and I wonder what will be the fate of Ashley. However, given that she has a guiding force and psychic powers backing her up, I am guessing she might have a good chance to survive. She clearly has issues with the tyrannical governance that Homelander has in mind, but she is smart enough not to speak up and get slaughtered. I'm guessing we will see her helping out Starlighters in some form, and maybe she will even connect with the dissenting boys and do something to undermine the oppressive regime. If she is caught in the act, it is a done deal for her, and she might get lasered to her death. But the scared politician in her is now backed by her ethical counterpart living in the back of her head. In terms of power, she is probably still no match for some of the other soups, but her psychic abilities definitely give her an edge in the fight. Exploring Ashley's complicated personality. What I find the most interesting about her personality is the fact that you cannot really do a scrutiny of her real nature without considering a lot of things. I mean, the way she starts off her journey in the show is despicable, because she is a spineless individual who has no concept of morality or ethics. Like most of the other Vought employees, she is a deceptive liar who manages the PR duties efficiently and shows no sympathy toward others. Her disregard for the common folk is clearly visible, and we have seen her talking down to Starlight over her public appearance and then bad-mouthing her for going off script. But all this takes a toll on her, and she is inherently depressed out of guilt and self-hate. She tries to cope with some rough sexual encounters involving humiliation, and we slowly find out that she is not as insensitive as she might let others think. Slowly, she realizes the dangers of Homelander's psychotic behavior, but currently she doesn't have much of a choice and still works as one of his sidekicks. Finally, we see her true feelings during her conversation with A-Train, where she expresses her guilt and cries over the death of Cameron. She reveals that she does not like how dangerous the company has become, and she has fired her best assistant to get him away from the terrible things in Vought. She might be an enhanced soup now, but I think Ashley's best power is still her marketing skill and her manipulation tactic. She knows when to say what, and she knows the things that might keep Homelander from killing her. This is all you need to survive in a world where soups and regular people are dying like flies, and I would say she has a good chance to be one of the final survivors in the show. I would love to hear your take on Ashley and her powers in the show following the Compound V injection. Also, share your thoughts on the future course for the character and what you think might motivate her to go directly against the Seven and Vought. If you appreciate the efforts to bring you this content, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more such videos.